Hello, and how's everybody doing? Today I'm going to run you through how to open up the ambiotex app and get into the performance test features so that you can determine your individual anaerobic threshold and your personal heart rate zone boundaries. So here at the bottom of my screen you see the ambiotex app, and here's the home screen for the ambiotex app. This is what you'll see when you have your tech unit on, and right now I just want to point out that the tech unit I'm using for demonstration is not connected to a vital shirt or on me at all. It's just sitting on the counter here, and so that's why there's no heart rate being displayed. For demonstration, that's fine right now. So at the bottom there is three icons. The middle one is a stopwatch, and that's the one that we're going to select right now. It brings you to the Start New Activity screen. So here's a point. At the top right of the screen, there's a plus sign. If you touch that, you can create a custom activity. You can name it, you can choose whether or not to use GPS, you can say whether or not it's a low, moderate, or high effort for yourself, and you can choose to use either the running or the cycling or neither of those as a marker on you have like a speedometer once you're recording an activity, and your anaerobic threshold is marked differently because it's different for running and cycling. And then there's a third one that they use if you don't use any of those. So that's just a mark on your speedometer showing where your anaerobic threshold is from the tests that you've performed. And then you can choose a color, and that's just your choice. So that's a custom activity. And what you'll see though when you open up the app is outdoor activities, indoor activities, and then at the bottom there will be tests. The tests are where I want to draw your attention to right now, and it would be the top one is an anaerobic threshold test. That's for a treadmill and running. And then the middle one is a cycle anaerobic threshold test. Of course, that's for a cycle. And then there's a stress test, which is separate, and we'll talk about in a different video. So for right now, I'm going to go into the running anaerobic threshold test, which is the top one, performed on a treadmill. And you can see that it opens up a screen that tells you about what you're getting ready to experience. It's going to ask you right now to increase speed by 0.75 miles per hour, which is what that green circle says on the right, and it kind of explains what's going to happen. So what this is a step test, and it will guide you with a 10-minute timer to warm up at a certain speed, and then it will begin to increase that speed in 3-minute intervals until you can't do it anymore. And I'll explain exactly what I mean there in a minute. So let's just go through what's on the screen here. If you change the selection from normal to beginner, what happens is that the speed increases change. So you can, if you're a beginner, it'll have you start at a lower speed, which you can see down below here, and it will also have you increase by a different speed. So let's go with beginner for now, and we'll just base our explanation off that. So I've selected beginner, and I see here that it says please configure treadmill as follows. Ascent 1.5%, speed at start 4.0 miles per hour, and speed increase per step is 0.5 miles per hour. The ascent is just your incline on the treadmill. You'd set it to 1.5. The speed at start on the treadmill is a 4, so that's 4 miles per hour. And then the speed increase per step, which is going to be guided with audible cues, and you'll be able to see it on your screen too, but it's a half a mile an hour increase. So the first time that they ask you to increase from your beginning speed of 4 miles an hour, you would then have the treadmill on 4.5 for that next 3 minutes. So down here it kind of explains the process I've hit on a couple times. You warm up for about 10 minutes to get ready for your test. It gives you a 10-minute timer and has you going at 4 miles an hour for a beginner for that 10 minutes. If you're already warm, you've warmed up. Otherwise, you can begin the test before that, and I'll show you how in a moment. Now, during the test, you'll see a timer that counts down and gives you a number of how much time is left in that step, and then it also will announce with an audible voice telling you the next speed and how long you have to go. So when you reach your maximum performance in the test and cool down, it says. And what it means by that is that you increase on the guided speed in line with what it asks you to do until you can't do it anymore. It's a subjective maximum. So as soon as you are gassed out and you've had enough, you can't do it any faster or any longer, you can press end test. And once you do that, though the test isn't quite over yet, you have to reduce speed back to the beginning speed of 4 miles per hour, and then you'll have 5 more minutes at that very beginning speed in which The vital shirt is measuring your heart rate variability, and your respiration to record a whole bunch of stuff that has to do with how your body recovers and deals with the kind of stress it was just under. And these measurements are very important. So once you press end test, you actually have 5 more minutes until the test is over. And that 5 more minutes, like I just said, is at the beginning speed with which you started. So I'll just kind of demonstrate here. You can press start test.
Warm up for 10 minutes to get ready for test.
And it tells you warm up for 10 minutes to get ready for test. You can see there's a 10-minute timer here. If I had my vital shirt connected, there would be a beats per minute, and you would see what it was. And and then this is just giving me a guided warm up. If I'm already warm, I'm going to say go ahead and start test.
Start the test now at 4.0 miles per hour.
Start the test now at 4.0 miles per hour, she said. And that's your target speed. You're at the 1.5% incline already because you set it up right. And now we're going for a 3-minute timer. After this 3-minute timer runs out, it will say, please increase speed to 4.5 miles per hour for the next 3 minutes. And it will go on like that until I press end test. And remember, once I pressed end test, then I have 5 more minutes at the beginning speed, which it'll tell you the beginning speed to be at. But you do need to make sure and complete those 5 minutes. All right. So I'm going to exit. And I will end this video there. I'll do the cycle anaerobic threshold test in a separate video. Thank you very much.